Hey everyone, it's Watachi again. This video, I want to make it straight up known that uh, what I'm going to be talking about in here is a lot of contemplating that I do on a subject, but it's the basis of the story is my opinion. It's something that is one of the theories that I believe is what's going on. Um, it kind of came to me last night. I got stuff running in the back of my mind like we have on our phone, stuff running in the background, and I'm thinking about this stuff all the time. But last night, uh, it something popped into my head, and as I started, just kept thinking about it and focusing all my mind on it, uh, it started making a little bit more sense, a little bit more sense, a little bit more sense to as I was thinking about it more. Matter of fact, the way it came into my head, and I know I told you guys I don't ever do notes or anything, but last night when this started coming in, and I was thinking about it, I ended up, as you can see, I kind of did it in sections and wrote stuff sideways, and because it didn't all come in order. You see what I'm saying? It came my as I was as these thoughts were coming into my head, I had to go through and kind of put them in place and how they should go in order for me to understand what I was thinking. It's hard for me to explain what I'm talking about. If it doesn't happen to you, I guess I don't know. But stuff just, I mean, I'm telling you, this stuff just happens to me. Whether it might be on the phone, I might be looking through something and find something, uh, doing research or whatever. But it also just, because of the way I process stuff with critical thinking and logic, stuff comes into my head for some reason. But this is something that came up last night. I haven't had a whole lot of time to work with it. But I mean, I've got it down as much as I can tell you guys about it anyway. Um, but I'm throwing this out here because I want to hear what you guys think of this, and as if it's maybe even a possibility or whatever. Who knows? I'm not saying this is fact. There's facts in this, but no, this is not something that I have any proof of. This is my opinion and my theory. Okay, so, but what I was thinking about on this coronavirus, because now that Trump got that $8.3 billion in his pocket, and the funny thing about that, he was only asking for $2 billion, and some reason he got 8.3. So, but that's a whole nother video, and there's other people doing those videos. But since Trump got that, this is because I've talked to doctors and nurses and stuff, and they're all saying that this is just nothing more than a common cold, flu, or pneumonia. Those kind of it's kind of all in the same lines with that right there. It's nothing different, nothing new under the sun. As they say, and not to worry about it unless you're sickly, and just as at any other time in your life, if you're sickly and you have health problems and stuff and you get sick, it could kill you, you know. But these doctors and nurses have pretty much said for the most part it's nothing more than a cold or the flu or something. But for some reason, Trump and all them clowns in freaking Washington D.C. seems to think it's big enough to throw $8.3 billion at, or so they say. Now, so I'm thinking, okay, what are they going to do with this $8.3 billion? Okay. And I'm sure this money's just a start of what they're going to end up getting. This is just a start of it. But, I picture these elitist people sitting around this table, the whatever, however big the table might be, there might be 50 people sitting around it. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know how the elitists do it. They won't let me in their club either. But, I see these people sitting around the table and thinking, because Georgia Guidestones, they claim they need the population of the earth to be 500 million or less. And so that means with the population of 7 billion people, they got to kill off 6.5 billion people. Now, I'm sure they've sat around and there's things they've thought of that would be quick kills, and they've used them many times. War is quick kill. You kill off hundreds of thousands of millions of people during a war. And, those things are all well and fine, but that's still not killing enough fast enough for them. So they start thinking of other ways. So they start thinking, oh man, what we need is a good pandemic. A good pandemic. And they said, yeah, but then, some people, it might not affect, and others it might, and then that we'll have to do something, that it can't stretch on forever. So, without them, they would have to, the doctors would have to be working on it and eventually come up with something that's going to stop it, of course, but it would be millions and millions of people dead and years later, and, but they're sitting around and they're thinking, okay, what's something that's pretty infectious and it's, it's everywhere, it's something that everybody knows of. And they came up with the common cold, the flu. That's everywhere, if a bunch of people started dying from it, it was natural, they wouldn't be nobody pointing any fingers at them. Okay. So then, we've got this. All right. We're going to use a common cold, everybody can get a cold, so we got the common cold, flu, pneumonia. What part of the body does that attack? It attacks the lungs, people. That's right. It attacks the lungs. So they start thinking, okay, how are we going to, we need to, because, cold, flu, pneumonia, it only kills so many people a year, 30,000, 40,000, something like that. But it don't kill millions or billions, so it's not good enough. So what are we going to have to do to make this cold, this flu, and this pneumonia kill millions or billions of people? What can we do? We've got to do something to make these things more lethal than what they are. Oh, well, we can start building these planes with these big tanks on them, and we'll just start spraying this stuff over their heads up in the air they're breathing and everything, and they'll breathe this into their lungs. That'll make their lungs weaker, make it easier for these colds, flu, and pneumonia to attack these people, and if they get it, their lungs are so weak they end up dying from it. And just maybe we could put something in the air that will help that effect. Well, we can't just hit them with arsenic and kill them all. So, the finger will be pointing. No, what we do is we spray them for years and years and years. We just spray them like ants, Just spray them. They'll never even know it. We'll tell them, we'll come up with something, and we can always use that global, you remember we said it was global cooling, and then we've got climate change. We can say we're spraying this stuff for climate change. These people will never see it coming. And all this time, I know they've been spraying for at least 10 years. At least 10 years above my head. And I can pretty much bet you it goes back farther than that. They used to call it cloud seeding, but they didn't do it everywhere. They did it like during Vietnam, Korean Wars. they used it to cause downpours and storms to come in, or make a small storm into a big storm or something to get a lot of rain out of it. But to the level they're at today, I've got people that tell me that are in Australia, that are in UK, that are in Europe, that are, they're all around all over the earth, and they're telling me they're being sprayed just like we are. People up in Canada say they're being sprayed like crazy too, just like we are. It's so bad anymore. You see these YouTube channels on YouTube, and they're doing videos outside. You can see the sky where they're at is all lined up with chemtrails. But anyway, let's get back to this little story. These guys sitting in this office, and they've come up with this plan. They're going to use everyday common cold, flu, pneumonia to try to kill off billions of people. So they start spraying us. And they spray us good. They spray us all winter. Yeah, they give us a break during the summer. I don't know why. They did last summer anyway. And they didn't spray much. But as soon as it got cold again, they start spraying. And I think because if it's cold out, that stuff lingers in the sky longer. If it's hot out, it doesn't linger as much. And that's why I believe they do it in the cold time, when it's cold out. But, they come up with this idea, and they're spraying for years and years and years. And I'll be honest with you, people, in the last 10 years, I've had breathing problems my whole life. I was born, they said I was diagnosed with asthma when I was born. I'm finding out I had a lung doctor here where I'm at tell me that I've got a hereditary COPD, and that I don't only have it, I'm a carrier, according to them. But my lung capacity has never been 100%, but at probably 70 or 75% compared to everybody else. When I lived out in Arizona, I didn't have no breathing problems at all, and I may end up back out there, who knows. But right now, I've got like 30 to 40% lung capacity. If I was to get pneumonia, it'd probably kill me. If I was to get the flu, it'd probably kill me. Now, who's to say that the damage in my lungs that has gotten worse and worse over the last 10 years hasn't come from the sky, that stuff they're spraying? Because they'll never let the doctors admit that. They'll never let a doctor admit that my lungs are messed up from the stuff that they've been spraying in these chemtrails. It'll never happen. So if it's happened to me, people, you got to wonder how many other people it's happened to. Some people think, oh, my breathing hasn't, or it's gotten worse, but it's because I'm, older. That's why, not the fact that I'm breathing anything, but, with these chemtrails and shit, people, you start thinking about it. And with the stuff we're breathing in, I'm sure that would affect the women that get pregnant. I'm sure it affects the babies of those women that get pregnant. The old people, it's got, my parents are 80 and 89, so they're still breathing. My dad's on oxygen. But something like the coronavirus could kill him in a heartbeat too, if he was to get it. You got to start wondering, folks, has all this, I know I've been damaged. Have any of you guys felt like your breathing capacity has dropped, or, you just don't have the lungs you used to have 10 or 15 years ago, it's something to think about. But let me look through these notes and see if I've covered everything. Look, like I told you, people, that I think this chemtrailing stuff is a soft kill anyway. I think it's always been. They're not only killing. We're not only breathing it. It's all over the trees, the plants, the animals. It's in the water. It's in the ground. It's It's everywhere now, people. Whatever it is, I've heard stories. It's barium, strontium, plasma, and heavy metals, and I don't know what is in it. All I know is it can't be good for us. It can't be good for us, or it would have already been there, you know. And the reason I'm bringing up this story is because because Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden running on that Democrat, and the whole bunch of clowns that were running under the Democrat Party, we're all talking about free health care and free college and Lord only knows what else. But they were all talking about this, and you got to wonder what the government's, if say Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden wins, and they're going to fight for everybody because the Democrats want it, they'll sign that shit right in, Do you really think they want to take on 350 million people, sickly or not, and be responsible for their health care? I don't think so, people. That's too many for them to handle. Now, if you're working and you're paying federal taxes, then I believe they want to keep you doing your thing. So that leaves the first things they want to do is get rid of the dead weight. That would be your babies. That would be your elderly. And then that would also be your people. I don't know if you consider me elderly. I'm 57, or going to be 57 a couple months. But I consider people 60s, 70s, or higher be elderly. I'm midlife the way I see it. But people that are midlife that have health problems like me, dead weight, just like the babies and the old people. So do you think they want to continue or to pay for, or do you think they want to supply our money back to us, sickly old and the babies, when we're not putting any money into their pot? They just saying we be gone. And that's who I think they're working on, people, with this coronavirus. Because those are the people that are going to be most affected at first. Now, you can rest assured this coronavirus will evolve into something else. And you people in between there, it's going to somehow it'll get to you too. But, and maybe with all the spraying that's going on, maybe they've done enough damage to you that you're not really a healthy person now that could live through something like that. Who knows? I know I had pneumonia, not last Christmas, but the Christmas before. And I couldn't hardly take a step without seeing stars, like I was getting ready to pass out because I couldn't get no air, couldn't breathe. And it did a lot of damage to my lungs. As far as scar tissue goes, when they actually did the MRI or CAT scan or whatever, all them damn things they put me through. But they thought I had a big mass of cancer and found out it wasn't cancer, it's just scar tissue. But, maybe this stuff has done damage to your lungs too. And by God, it might take just a cold or a flu or pneumonia to take you out too. Because people, we don't know what they're spraying on us. We don't know. And we don't know what the long-term effects are. And you could damn sure bet we're getting to that point where long-term effects are going to probably start kicking in. And maybe this stuff they've been spraying on us is going to kill us off. And it's going to look like a cold, flu, or pneumonia is what actually killed you. And the coronavirus is just a cover story. I don't know, people. Just my opinion. You guys, may God bless us all, because that's what it's going to take to save us. So you guys have a good day out there, and until next time.